Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today. Great to have you with me. Today we're looking at your career and financial situation. So let's break that down by having a look at what's going on in the workplace. Are you happy in your job? Unhappy? Are you looking to stay? Are you looking to move on? Are you unsure about the direction of your career in general? What are the next steps in terms of a timeline as to where that's all going? And also, what's happening with finances? Are you in a secure position? Are you feeling confident about your financial situation? Or could it be doing a lot better? So lots to look at today. And before we get started, if you want to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Before you on the screen, we've got 4 different cards to choose from, and the idea is to choose a card that resonates with you really clearly. Once you've made that choice, that will be your reading. Perfectly fine to choose more than one card if it comes through strongly for you today. Just remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. Now, we've got card 1, 2, 3, and 4. Taking a moment to be with the cards, drawing in a nice deep breath. And as you release the breath, listening to your intuition, your inner voice, the energy of the cards. Which of these comes through for you the strongest today? Is it card 1, 2, 3, or 4? Down below, there are 4 different timestamps representing each of these different cards. If you'd like to go to the one that you've chosen, I'll see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 1. This is your reading. We're looking at career and money today, so let's jump in and have a look and see what's going on here. Up here with Death and the 4 of Wands. Felt a transitionary stage in your work direction, ending linked to a new beginning. I feel like you're saying goodbye to something from the past that is very much about moving on from a situation where you have emerged bruised and glad to be moving on. I feel like there are greener pastures in the balance for you, that there is a confidence about where it is that you're going. I feel that you have a new workplace situation and you are leaving an old one, and that this is a really big change for you, in as much as it really shakes things up and moves you towards a situation which I feel that you are glad to be going to, that you feel very confident about. I feel that in the balance there is a workplace that is very supportive for you and which will give you enormous amount of growth. And this is very much about looking back into the past and consolidating what it is that's happened that's brought you to this particular point. And if I come over here to Strength and the 8 of Swords, I feel, historically speaking, in the workplace that you've been at, that the vultures have certainly been circling for quite some time, and that the environment has been very toxic and unhealthy in a way where it's been quite oppressive. I feel like there's been negative situations, experiences, circumstances that, collectively, accumulatively have just really gotten inside your head in a way where you've actually been quite almost harmed by it. Strength is a really strong card for health. The 8 of Swords is a card of oppression and restriction. I feel your mental health has taken a really, really savage beating here in a way that at times has felt very threatening. I feel that for some of you, there is a sense that you have been controlled, perhaps micromanaged. I feel that there have been superiors or other people who have very much been in your face in a way that has been very negative and which has reinforced some kind of line or some kind of picture that just has been really difficult to deal with. At times I feel you have felt like a caged animal, that there's been no freedom just to get on with your job properly. And at times it has been psychologically really very oppressive for you. I felt for some of you, it's almost like, especially with the Eight of Swords, like it's I kind of feel like a lot of gaslighting has been going on here. It's like, you're seeing things in a very specific way, and it's based on your experience of how things roll day to day. But when you try maybe to confront that, or to talk about that with other people who are either being a part of it, or, maybe need to step in and actually manage it in some way, that, they're either turning a blind eye to it, or telling you that it's not happening, or trying to get you to think that it's maybe about you, that you're the problem. And I don't feel like you're being listened to here. I don't feel anybody seeing your point of view. It's a total lack of validation in terms of the experience that you've been having. And strength has a lot of feeling, and it's fueled by the Eight of Swords here, and the feeling is very, very negative. It's very oppressed. It's very cornered, suffocative, panicked at times. There's a lack of vision as to what you can do, where it is that you can go. You feel very much like you've got your hands tied behind your back, and you're trying to keep your cool. You're trying not to spill over and lose yourself in this, or lose your temper, or lose your footing, because if you do that, it's almost like other people will jump in and take advantage of that. I kind of feel that you have been used as a doormat in some ways, a beating post, a kicking post, a scapegoat even. I just kind of feel like the circumstances that you've worked in, that you've been very targeted in a way, that have used you to perhaps whitewash a situation. Maybe this is quite political for some of you. Maybe you've been alienated and seen as somebody who they can dump a whole lot of negative garbage on, in a way that perhaps makes them look better, if it's to do with other people, or perhaps this is more about well, it's not that it's more about, I think it's very much about the workplace culture and your experiences of really being in a very toxic and unhealthy environment, where people are using you in a way that is to their advantage, is how I felt. And I feel that what's been really difficult about this is that there's been no expansion for you. There's been no growth. And so therefore, opportunities to actually maybe to grow and to develop have been completely limited or non-existent. Either way, you've come to a point here in the past where you've realized that there's just no hope here. There's no future here. And I want to come down here to the Magician and the Knave of Swords. I think at the same time, you felt it is time to move on, but then the experiences that you've had accumulatively have left you feeling really doubtful about your abilities. The Knave of Swords is really negative in terms of getting inside your head and getting into a very spiraling negative thought pattern that loses confidence. You want to move on. You're thinking about what is it you need to do, because you're constantly in your mind about this experience in a way where you want to put some distance between yourself and it. So you want to go on, you want to move on, you want to do something about it. The Magician is definitely a card of action, wanting to strike it into action, wanting to move forward in a way that seizes new opportunities. But a combination of these cards is very push-pull. You see that you need to go, but you're doubtful of whether you've got what it takes to be able to move on from this experience. I feel like you've been conditioned down, that you have been oppressed, that the negative environment has had an enormous impact on your mental health, and it's really caused you to feel a lack of confidence, to doubt yourself, that at the same time, you've also felt very strongly here, because the Magician is a card of strength, it is a card of power, it channels through energy to create opportunity and manifest something. Whatever it is that you actually focus on. And I think that you've really been picking over what that actually is for yourself. And you believe that there is better out there for you and that you can do better. There's no doubt about it. You're a very intelligent person. You're detailed. You really pick over everything that needs to be done in a way where you're comprehensive, you're thorough with detail. You're an ideas person. You're very analytical. This, for me, is your strength, you know. Coming over here to the Hanged Man and the Knight of Swords, I really felt here that this reinforces almost like a position of where you're at now. And I think that it's retrospective. I think that you have done something about this situation in a way where you've got a new job to go to, that employment is in the balance, that you are transitioning out of this organization or this set of experiences in a way where you are about to step into a very new beginning. But at the same time, I feel a lot of where you're at this point in time is really trying to resolve the anger and frustration as to how it is that you've been treated. There's an unfairness that comes through here. I feel like, you know, here with the Hangman and the Knight of Swords, you know, the Knight of Swords really has a lot spilling over in terms of wanting to express anger, frustration. And if I look here with the Hangman, it's like, you know, you can see here that there are specific people who have really targeted you in a way that has actually been very unfair. Now, I felt for many of you that you could have been used as a scapegoat, or at least as like a kicking post. I feel it's not just that, though, that, you know, maybe there are also specific people who have really limited you or politically used you in a way where you've been a pawn in a bigger game, and where you have been stopped from achieving more than you would like to. I feel like where you're at this point in time is it's almost like you want to point those people out. That you want to go back to this situation and really highlight what it is that's happened in a way where you kind of get back at them. At the same time, I think, you know, you're stopping yourself from doing that. But the gravity and the realization that you were actually mistreated has really come into this kind of fullness of expression. It's like, yeah, you know, like I've actually been really hard done by in here. You know, people have actually been really mean. I feel like you're playing over it and over and over it in your mind. It's very hard to let it go. And there's a lack of resolution to be able to move on, you know, like it's so you're kind of very stark in your head about it. And I think a big part of what's playing out here for you is that it has really dented you. It has really taken you down in a way. You know, I feel like your mental health has really suffered from these circumstances, and that you're not in a place where you're fully balanced out, and that you are transitioning through what has essentially been a really confronting and very difficult situation. And if you come back up here to Death and the Four of Wands, you know, I feel that having to pull yourself out of this set of circumstances has actually been really confronting. You know, death implies an ending linked to a new beginning that changes the entire set of your circumstances in a way that isn't exactly the easiest thing to actually have to confront. It's taking you outside of your comfort zone and forcing you to do something about it. Yeah. And you know, there's a lot to be resentful here in this reading. At the same time, I do feel that it's time to move on, and that if you were to go back and try to make something out of this, maybe to write a letter of complaint or to raise this as a formal issue in a way where you were looking to get some kind of recourse, that it would be very limited. I feel like your hands are tied behind your back in some ways, and that losing your energy to this situation anymore is actually more negative than it is positive. That perhaps it's actually about letting go of the past in order to move forward in a way where you are complete in letting it all go. And death implies that, like it is an ending linked to a new beginning, a complete one. Like it's not a fragment of it. It's like a total turn of events in a way where nothing will be like what it was before. And if I come up here to the Emperor and the Three of Wands, and we're moving into the past in terms of an outcome here, I feel that there's a new role for you here, a new job. And you're back in your power in a way where you had the freedom to explore your own potential. The Emperor is a really solid card in terms of striving for ambition, taking control of a situation. The Three of Wands here is about opening up horizons and the freedom to explore new opportunities that give you an expanse of understanding. I kind of feel like you're moving into new opportunities, new options that actually give you a much broader view as to where things can go in terms of this particular role. I feel like this is going to be a very supportive environment with a workplace culture, perhaps, that actually it really has your back. I feel that the resonance is completely different to what it was that you were in before. The environment is really respectful and very open-minded. I feel that there is scope here to move towards the ambition that you actually really have. It's about moving upwards, but it's about the steadfastness that actually supports you to get to that place. It's not rushed. It's one step at a time. It's done in a way where I feel, this new role will be very integrated and very supported. I feel that there is no pressure here for you. Like you have time to explore, you have time to create. And this approach is integrated in a way where people do have your back. I felt that perhaps that you actually would be moving towards the idea of taking a lead within this role, but that there would be support behind you. And if you contrast this with where you were at before, where there were no opportunities in your pathway, and that you were surrounded by people who were actually, vultures, and they were picking over you in a way where, they were using you for everything that you could actually give them. Yeah. I feel that you've moved so far away from that experience that you are in a completely new place that really helps you to heal, definitely. And I feel that this is a place that really helps you to regain your confidence and to refocus on what is most important to you in terms of where it is that you want to go. I do have to say here with these two cards, the Emperor and the Three of Wands, I question how clear you are about where it is that you want to go next. Perhaps this is a job that really just kind of like opens up the door, but the environment at large is the most important factor here. It has your back to be able to develop and to grow and to realize what your ambition is. And I feel that you'll be in this particular role for a number of years. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of creative growth here. And I feel there is a lot of positive engagement in terms of what this job offers you holistically. So for me, you've opened up a doorway here. You're heading in the right direction. New horizons that actually lead you towards your greater goals, your greater ambitions. Look, I hope this reading has made some sense to you, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of info about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 2. This is your reading and we're looking at career and finances today. Let's jump in, see where things are going for you in the workplace. Up here to the Lovers and the Nine of Wands. I felt like it was a really important working relationship that you had with somebody that was kind of forcing your hand, really. They can be quite overbearing and draining of your energy. I feel like you're constantly on guard about this person in a way where you have to watch out for them. You don't know where it's quite going to go at any given time. I think sometimes they can be really nice, and then there's other times where they can just be really quite aggressive. And I feel like this is wearing you down in terms of a situation. There's a feeling here that you have to play it right, and if you play it wrong, it could get on the wrong side of them, and then you're kind of really sorry about the situation because their behavior begins to put you to the test in a way where you have to make a choice as to how you're going to handle it. And I feel like you're always on the right side of the situation in a way where you're trying to be nice to them. You're trying to be very decent. You're trying not to confront them, because if you confront them, then it could make it worse. And then you could be really sorry about the situation because you have to work with this person. I felt like you were working with them very closely, that this was an important relationship within the workplace that was integral to perhaps your role, or maybe it's a superior where you have to answer to them, or a colleague where you're working together. You just feel very linked in terms of the relationship. I didn't feel like you could avoid this person. This is like a day-to-day thing where they're always around you. I feel like they're always breathing down your neck. And if it's not because of the work that relates to you, it's just that they've always got you on edge. It's awkward. It's an awkward situation because I feel that this person needs to be put into place, but how you handle that is really difficult, and it's all about them being quite aggressive and overbearing. It's almost like they're victimizing you in a way that is persistent, and in a way that is kind of nice, but then not nice, if that makes sense. It's like, you're trying to keep it sweet. They play to that. They play to keeping it, all cool and not rocking the boat. But then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they'll start to play quite mean, And I do feel like you're having to constantly defend yourself. Maybe it's defending the work that you're doing, or defending your position, or just feeling like this person is kind of, really coming down on you in a way where you kind of, it's not that you're pushing back, but you're just having to really watch it. You're on guard is what I want to say. And there's a feeling deep down within you. It's like, you're constantly feeling attacked. And it's a difficult choice, because which side do you sit on? Once again, do you confront this person? And it becomes a very awkward situation, because I don't feel like this person is somebody who is going to take it so well, or maybe deep down that's something that they're actually looking for so that they can go harder, and it's like, do you want to make your life hell at work, because if you make the wrong choice and you handle it in the wrong way, it could really have consequences for you in a way that would just be even worse. And you have to work with this person. That's the sense here, is that you have to work with them. You have to get along. You're having to treat them with kid gloves. It's a lot of energy. Yeah, it's a lot of energy for you to have to deal with every day, but it's taking a lot from you because you're always trying to keep it sweet. Come back here into the past with Justice and the Eight of Chalices. I felt historically this behavior has been going on for quite some time. I don't feel like it's just you that it happens to. I feel like there are other people. I feel like everybody is giving this person a wide berth. They're all avoiding the difficult and I guess the it's like if you call this person into account, like you have to go there in a way that becomes quite loaded. I feel like this person has been given a lot of room to sort of like get on with this kind of behavior. I feel like you specifically have also avoided difficult situations in the past with this person, and even though they've made you feel the way that they have, that you've avoided going there and confronting them. It's like turning a blind eye to injustice, because technically this person is being very aggressive. They're being very overbearing. They are being politically incorrect in some ways, you know, like they're bullying. It's for me, this is bullying. It's a very bullying situation. And by not confronting them, it almost condones them and normalizes the behavior in a way that leaves them to feel that they can get away with it. And I feel for you, it's been quite an emotionally loaded situation where you've chosen to just keep it a bit relaxed, give it a wide berth, and focus on feeling better with yourself, within yourself, you know, because it takes a lot of energy to have to call this person to account. And I don't feel like you've really wanted to take that on. I'm going to say, I feel like you're a very hard worker. Back over here to the Nine of Wands, there's a lot of energy output here. I feel like you're really taking on an enormous amount of work. You've got a lot on your plate. Perhaps working with this person, maybe you're taking up the slack of that person, maybe not doing their job, or maybe they're feeding you extra work that you have to do. I don't know what the arrangement is here, but it feels like you're linked in a way where, you know, you're doing the lion's share. It does feel like, you know, like you've got a lot on your plate. And I feel historically that has been a very strong feature and a contributing factor into the nature of your response to this person. It's like, you know, you've already got enough going on. Having to deal with them and really call them into account, it's like that's a lot of extra to have to deal with for you. Down here to the Wheel of Fortune, because you're a very, very sensitive person. Here with the Queen of Chalices, the Wheel of Fortune, you're a very sensitive and lovely person, quite compassionate and very forgiving. You know, perhaps a part of what you're actually doing here is just letting them be themselves in a way where you don't feel that you have it within you to play nasty, or that you have it within you to be confronting. I do feel here also that you know that something has to happen here, like change has to happen one way or the other. The Wheel of Fortune is beckoning that. The Queen of Chalices is looking very deep within and understanding, trying to understand at least, what is it that I really want here? Where do I really want things to go? What do I want the next phase of my working life to really be? I feel like you're asking some much deeper questions as to whether you really want to be in this organization, working with this person. Maybe you're thinking about moving on, thinking about what it means if you actually stay where you are. If you stay, I feel that you've come to a point where you realize you have to call them into accountability, because otherwise you're putting yourself at risk. The Wheel of Fortune kind of, you know, beckons that. It's like a precarious situation. You don't know which way it's actually going to go. Could be better, it could be worse. It could be just more of the same. And either way, change needs to happen. I feel that you feel that. I think deep down, especially with the Queen of Chalices, you know, there's this inner sense of responsibility that you should really do something about it. You know, you're feeling like you need to step up and move more fully into your power, not to be a pushover. Not saying that you need to push back, but it's that sense that, you know, maybe I need to step up here. But, you know, in contrast with that, you know, do I want to stay here? Is it worth my time? Is it worth my effort? I kind of feel that that's where things are rolling just at this time. And perhaps coming back over here to Justice and the Eight of Chalices, maybe you've thought about leaving in the past as well. Maybe you've seen other people leave or avoid this person in a way that triggers you and leaves you to feel this isn't actually, you know, this is not sustainable. This is not right. I do feel here, back over here to the Lovers and the Nine of Wands, you've just come to this point where it's like you're worn down. You can't keep on going like this. You can't keep on being on the edge, anticipating how things are going to roll, trying to keep it sweet. It's just taking too much energy. I want to come over here to the Devil and the Seven of Swords. And I felt this is an outcome in terms of where things are going, the direction of the future here. I feel like this person is going to push it a step too far. I feel like the behaviors of their past and the fact that they felt that they could get away with being the way that they are, treating people the way that they do, doing things in a very kind of untowards fashion. I feel that they're not going to be able to help themselves. It's more of the same. And it's going to get trickier and trickier to navigate in terms of avoiding them. I feel that they're going to be more confronting, more brazen, more in your face. The Seven of Swords is definitely a card of deceit, underhandedness, using tactics that are very much about taking people for a ride in some ways. And the devil is fueling that energy in a very intensive way. This relationship is going to sour. I feel that things are going to become unworkable in a way that you're not going to be able to avoid it any longer. And I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say that I feel here that not only are they going to continue with this behavior, but I feel like they're kind of almost going to involve you in some way where they bring you down with them. They're taking you along for their ride because they've got you wrapped around their finger in some ways. They know that they can push your buttons and coerce you into situations that you might not want to say no to, or that you don't feel strong enough to confront them about, in terms of feeling that it's the wrong thing. So I feel like, this is going to spiral. It might even be that this person somehow does something that is called into account eventually. And I feel that because you're partnered with this person, that somehow you would be implicated or involved in a way where you would also be called into question. You can see here that goes from a sort of fairly balanced situation on one level in terms of just keeping it sweet, into something here with the devil that is very... It's like, things are really going to get a bit twisted. I feel that this is a situation you want to avoid. I feel like they're bringing their reputation down, but they're also bringing your reputation down by association. They're going to involve you. This person has a very negatively focused approach to the way that they get the job done. They are an aggressor. It can only go one way. They're a bully, and they're going to push, and they're going to push, and they're going to push until they get exactly what it is that they want. This is not a nice energy to deal with. If I come down here to Temperance and the Five of Chalices, I feel that the damage has already been done here. The writing is already on the wall. There's disappointment. And you've been trying to get things, you can see here with Temperance, you've been trying to create a balanced workplace situation with this person, but you're constantly disappointed. No amount of input that you have actually been trying to feed into this situation has given any kind of balance. It's time to distance yourself. I feel that this person's toxic gravitational pull is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that the energy will become so overbearing that it will actually engulf you and drag you down with them in a way. It's time to let go. There's been some red flags going on here since right back into the past. And I feel that you have one of two choices to make. You confront the situation now and call this person into account, and go down a very technical route that is very much about justice. Maybe that's about reporting the behavior of this person to somebody who is in a senior position. Maybe that's about confronting the person that you're working with and actually having a direct conversation and laying down very strong boundaries and telling them that you are no longer prepared to put up with the behavior that they're actually inflicting upon you. Or you make a choice to get out. I have to be honest with you. I feel like the damage has already been done here. I don't feel like this is a situation that can be salvageable, even if you do confront them or take it to a higher authority to try and get some sort of resolution. because I felt that your working relationship was integral in as much as you have to work with them. And that the real choice is, can you continue to work with this person anymore? And I don't feel that it's sustainable or that you can. And if you come back to the Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Chalices, you're a really lovely person. You don't play hard. You don't play with toxicity. You come from a good place. This says to me that you need to really consider where it is that you're going and what choices you make to get yourself out of this situation. It's time to move on. Look, I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe. Tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 3. This is your reading and we're looking at career and finance. Let's jump in and see what's going on up here at the Tower and the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like we're looking into the past here, and I feel like there's been some kind of bomb that's gone off, economically speaking, that your finances have taken a real hit in a way that have left you to really consider where things are at a very core base, fundamental level. Here with the Tower, you know, it's indicative of destabilization and things really getting a blast in a way that have shocked you. Knight of Pentacles, definitely, you know, a card of finance and stability and routine. And I feel that this could indicate some kind of a shake-up in terms of your earnings versus your outgoings. I feel here that there is some kind of turbulence that has undermined your ability to be able to put money away or to cover your outgoings in a confident fashion. And that's really brought everything into question in terms of where the basics are at. Forget about the padding and the extras. This is about keeping things going at a baseline level in terms of your day-to-day routine. And I feel that you've been squeezed really hard in a way that has left you feeling there is no fun going on here. So it's all hands on deck trying to figure out how to stabilize the situation in a way where you can just get back to where you were, let alone getting further ahead. I kind of feel like there's been a really big preoccupation with this in a way that has really given you cause to try and make sense of things in a way that I just don't think that you have been able to, because the reality is that things just aren't cutting it to be able to give you what you need to make rent, pay the mortgage, car payments, you know, covering food expenses, all that sort of stuff. You know, I kind of feel this is very fundamental stuff. It's not about anything else that's extra. So if you're feeling very insecure in a way that has been quite difficult to deal with, because I feel here very much with the the Knight of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, you know, like you are an economically minded individual who is very much about thinking tomorrow and saving for a rainy day. And so for things to kind of get to a point where you're that squeezed, I think this is actually a big shake-up, a real reality check for you, in as much as it's caused you enormous amount of concern, because this is the kind of thing that you would usually try to avoid. I feel that you are somebody who usually looks at the bright side of things in a way that can make sense of a situation that is usually like this for other people. But now that you're in the situation yourself, it's really quite difficult because it's very backwards in going forwards. Down here to the Devil and the Six of Swords, I feel here this pinch has really forced you to look for support from other people until things become clearer. That might be about looking to your parents or to family or to friends to get some kind of a handout, maybe to get a loan, maybe to help out in some way. If it's not that, it could be that you're looking to refinance your situation in a way where you're going to the bank or looking at other financial institutions that can give you some kind of cash flow or help you to cover what's going on for a period of time. I feel that you've been looking for guidance to get through this situation in a way that can just at least get you to the other side, to give you some sort of a breather. And I think that that's been really difficult for you because, the devil, it sort of indicates a situation that is really unpleasant, obviously, but I kind of just feel like I feel like you feel really bad about yourself for being in this situation. The fact that you have lost control in your eyes, it's like there's a lot of shame or humiliation around that, and the fact that you actually have to look to other people for some kind of a support. I think you're very worried about how that makes you look. Maybe you're worried about things like your credit rating, for example. How you look to friends, to family, to the people that you perhaps work with, or whoever it is. I feel that you're a very responsible person who's very supportive of other people, and that this is a situation that you never saw yourself getting into yourself. Yeah. It's almost like you're feeling like you're going out with your, with cap in hand, and that's not a situation that you would like to be in. And I think what I see here with the Six of Swords is like you're trying to navigate this situation and put it back on track and get yourself into clear water. But every step of the way, every effort that you make, it just seems to be heading in a direction that gets worse and worse and worse. This feels very gloomy and doomed. And it's that feeling of being out to sea with nobody having your back and not having the support that you need to be able to make it right. All of your efforts seem to go into one direction, and it's heading towards, and perhaps here with the devil is that feeling that if I don't get this on track, somebody might step in and do something about it in a way that actually leads me to some kind of a demise, whether that's somebody coming in and like that could be the bank stepping in and taking action, or it could be somebody calling in the bailiffs to knock on your door to reclaim certain things within your life that make up for the lost difference on things that you're not able to keep up with in terms of payments. It could be in that kind of context. So humiliation and a sense of pending doom or gloominess and very backwards going forwards. If I come over here to the wheel and the 10 of Pentacles, I do feel that you've actually reached a point, and this is more here and now. I feel like you've gone beyond worry, that you have reached a point of acceptance as to where it is that you are. You can see that here with the 10 of Swords. The swords are all about conflict and difficulty, and there's no doubt that you've been going through that at the basis of this situation. But the 10 of Swords is definitely the end of the line. It doesn't really get any worse. I think you realize you've hit rock bottom in some ways. You've reached a point where you realize that things can't get any worse. The Wheel of Fortune has delivered this situation. It is what it is. For me, there's acceptance here. Feeling that you've reached a point of no return for the better or for the worse. That you need to get over yourself, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and turn this around in a way that actually points it in a direction that gives you good fortune. The world is a big place. The universe is infinite in terms of possibility, and the Wheel of Fortune indicates that, things could get better at any time soon. And I do feel that you actually are on the right side of this experience now. I think you've been through the shredder. I think you've hit the bottom and you've realized that there's no point in feeling out of control with this, and that you have to make your mind up about what you want to do and pull it into action. I feel that you've even realized perhaps everything happens for a reason, even when it's hardship. So for me, I kind of feel like you've gotten to a place where it's beyond worry, and that you have to choose which side of the fence you're actually gonna stand on here. If I come up here to Strength and the Knave of Pentacles, I felt here it's like you've begun to tighten things up in a way where I feel like economically you're really slimming things down. Maybe you've actually had a reality check in terms of understanding what it is you really need to do in a way that sort of just slims it right down. You've also decided to control your reactions. The Strength is very much about strong, passionate feelings that are coming up. Knave of Pentacles is very much about a studious academic understanding of how to sort out the facts and the figures. It's a rational card. For me, I just kind of feel like you're in a place where you're really feeling much more confident, given that you've gotten your head around what's going on. You're looking at all aspects of your finances, you're slimming things down, and you're highly focused, and you're non-reactive to this situation. There's a level-headedness that's coming through here in a way where I feel like you're really channeling a very constructive energy and making sense of what's going on, and that you're reaching upwards into possibility, into great potential. The Knave of Pentacles is a card of new beginnings and opportunities. Strength, again, it's a finessed card. It's really like, I really feel here you're trying to understand through your knowledge of what is going on that you have to add grit to this situation to get traction to move forward. Here with the Knave of Sword, it's a card of study. I feel that there is a strong focus on looking at what you can do with knowledge in order to get yourself out of this situation and to give yourself a new opportunity that takes you upwards and onwards. And so it's really on the table in terms of learning what it is that you need to do here. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is opportunity. Knowledge is light. I felt here there's a strong consideration with some kind of study that may add into the kind of work that you do, that it complements the work that you do, that it gives you some sort of a leg up in terms of financial potential. It could be any kind of study. It might be a night course. It could be a degree. It could be whatever it is that relates to your work. And that this is somehow a potential for some of you to really add into the mix a way of moving forward, an aim, a plan. I felt either way, knowledge was the key here for all of you, that it is through knowledge and understanding how to work with your finances in a way that actually turns this situation around to get you to where you want to be. Over here to Judgment and the Two of Pentacles, I feel moving into the future and the next step over the next 2 months in particular, that this situation is going to turn around. You're under pressure here, no doubt about it. Judgment is a card of really getting you to stand up. It's a final call. It's like, what are you going to do about this situation? Two of Pentacles, it's like, look, I really need to diversify my understanding of what it is that I see here in light of the facts, in light of knowledge. And I felt that you would create a new opportunity based on this knowledge, this understanding, this study of money and security, that you would rise to the occasion under the pressure, and that your finances as a result of this investment into your understanding of what is possible would diversify and give you a really solid return in terms of financial growth. I feel like things are going to double up over this next year, that you go back into the flow of managing your finances effectively, and that you will begin to juggle multiple income or financial streams. I felt this could be, for many of you, this could be about study and some kind of leg up that gives you in terms of the work that you're doing. I felt for others, it could be some kind of a side hustle that complements what you're already doing, that helps you to make extra cash on the side. It could be as basic as refinancing and re-diversifying your interests in a way that actually work for you at a very core investment level. But essentially, I felt that you were going to create opportunity based on the fact that you were at the wire, really, under the pressure to really sink or swim, and that you would take the leap and make this work for yourself in a way that actually gave you a very solid return. You know, I feel like you're rising to the occasion here, that you're creating a very dynamic opportunity that turns this situation around. So for me, I feel you have the knowledge and the know-how, and the know-how at your hands. It's at your fingertips. And it's just a matter of making your mind up to take it to the next level. And I feel that you've come through a process where you realize you've got nothing left to lose. So for me, this is quite a clear sailing reading. You know, the only way is up. You know, you've already made your mind up what you're going to do. And in terms of a timeline, it's just a matter of things unfolding in a way that is very much according to your know-how, to the characteristics of who it is that you are, in the way that you are able to manage not only your financial and your career opportunities, but also yourself in a way that keeps a level-headedness to what's going on. There's no point in reacting to this situation. It's a matter of making up your mind about how you want to manage it. I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 4. This is your reading and we're looking at career and finances today, and let's jump in and have a look and see what's going on here. I feel like this has been quite a long process for you in terms of getting to a point of moving forward and beyond a role that you've been in. You come down here to the Tower and 4 of Wands. Just felt like in the past there's been no basis for any productive outcomes. Perhaps here with the Tower, there's a sense that the environment that you've been working in hasn't been supportive to your aims, your objectives. 4 of Wands, though, you know, I do feel at the same time within that challenge, and at times I think it's actually been quite difficult for you to really get a grab on anything beyond perhaps the people that you work with, like the structure of the organization or whatever it is that you're doing. It feels really a little bit rubbish, like very difficult to really make any sense out of it. It doesn't feel supportive. It doesn't feel like it's actually bolstering you in a way that actually helps you to meet anything that is about greater ambitions. But the people come through here for me in a really big way. I feel like there's been some really amazing relationships with other people that you're working with. That could be employees within the organization, teammates, contacts, whoever it is that you're working with and interfacing with. I felt that these factors were really important because they actually served to validate the experience in a way that left you to feel it was very difficult to move on from it. You know, really good people to be around, very lovely environment and atmosphere in terms of what that generates, but it's more about the structural aspects that don't really give you a greater control of where this is all heading. I do feel that perhaps the workplace has been very unappreciative of employees or of the work that you're doing. I kind of feel like you've had to team together, pull together. It's a real camaraderie. Like if you know, you know, everybody's in the know and everybody's got each other's back in a way where they all realize the shortfallings of the wider experience that they're all having to navigate. So I feel like that's kind of been a very, very tight experience, but as much as it's really drawn you to, yeah, just like forge deeper relationships with these people in a way that you possibly wouldn't in another job that was a bit more regular day to day in a normal sort of set of circumstances. And come over here to the Wheel of Fortune and the Eight of Chalices. It's come to a point where you've realised your heart's not in it. I feel like people are leaving here with the Eight of Chalices. Everybody's wising up to the fact that this is going nowhere, that it's a very, here with the Wheel of Fortune, it's a very risky situation to be in. Things could swing one way or the other at any given time. There's no security within this framework. It's a high risk activity to stay there. So I feel that perhaps for some of you, there are some very important relationships that have moved on and that are no longer there. And that's really difficult because as things begin to water down, the experience is just becoming a lot more obvious to you as a more confronting, gritty, risky place to be for yourself. And I felt, it's also just the recognition that, the heyday has gone, like the time where it was all a bit more of a golden era, perhaps, the things that drew you to this place of work to do what you're doing here, and the things that drew other people into this particular place. It's all moved on. Things have changed. It's not what it once was. And I do feel here with the Eight of Chalices, like you've learned an enormous amount out of this particular role and in this particular environment. And I feel that you feel a lot of risk by leaving. It's like, what lays in the balance? Is it going to reward me? Will I find a similarly fulfilling experience like I have had here? And there's a lot of considerations as to where you're going and what you're going to be a part of, but you do recognize that it's a time to move on. Perhaps for some of you here with the Eight of Chalices, maybe you're thinking, maybe I want to work on my own, work independently, get away from collaborating with other people or being in an environment where you're having to be a part of a wider agenda. Maybe I need to bring it back to myself. What have I learned here? What can I take from this? Not necessarily for everybody. I do feel that you've come to a point where you've recognized that you're going to move on, back up here, over to the Devil and the Eight of Wands. I feel like you're waiting for news to come through. Eight of Wands is a really strong card for news coming through, especially for a job interview. Perhaps you've been putting job applications out. The Devil is a very restrictive card that clamps down on that energy in a way that says nothing's coming through. Maybe you've got a lot of uncertainty as to which way things are going to swing. Are you going to get a job? Are you going to get a job that will actually give you what you want? I think also it creates a questioning process, a point of uncertainty. I feel like a lot of questions are coming through, like a lot of questions about your direction. Is my current direction with employment valid? Do I still have anything to give to this? Do I still enjoy what I've been doing in the past? Should I try something new? Where am I at? What am I doing? It's like a real point of assessment or reassessment in a way that recognizes that, not everything lasts forever. Sometimes change needs to happen. You can see that here with Wheel of Fortune. I think this idea here with the Eight of Chalices is, I kind of feel like you've wised up to something that is saying to you, maybe I need to dig a little bit deeper into this experience of where I'm going next. Maybe I shouldn't just take it for granted that I'll get another job and do something similar. And I feel like this is where the Devil and the Eight of Wands is. It's kind of like, it's really questioning the direction. It's really digging into things in a way where I feel that you're not only frustrated by a lack of progress in terms of gaining future employment, but just really reconfiguring, calibrating to perhaps a different direction, most definitely. Over here to the Fool and the Two of Pentacles. I feel that this is much more of a here and now situation. It's underpinning very much the moment. I kind of get a sense here that you're considering diversifying your approach in real time. You've sort of moved on from these other considerations I've been talking about. I feel that you've recognized that you want to stretch outside of your comfort zone. The Fool is very much about a new beginning, working much more creatively. Throwing caution to the wind, just going with the flow in a way where you don't really get bogged down by preconceptions about what is it you're supposed to be doing. It's very dynamic and creative energy, and the Two of Pentacles reinforces that in a really big way. You're looking outside of the box. You're stretching yourself outside of your comfort zone as to what it is that you may consider. There's a lot of things on the table at the moment. I think you've got an open mind towards where it is that you're going in a way that says, perhaps, look, nothing's set in stone. Let's get creative about what it is that I could possibly do here. Maybe what I could do relates to what it is that I've been doing, but I just kind of need to stretch that out a bit in a way that looks at different types of possibilities. Maybe for some other people, it could be that you're looking to maybe do more of the work that you've been doing, but to maybe have a side hustle or to incorporate some other aspect into that line of work. I feel like freedom is really important for you as a person, that you are somebody who likes autonomy and creativity. Could be that you want to work from home. Could be that you want to do contract work, freelance work. I just kind of feel it needs to have creative space. The time and place of your work needs to be free to figure out as you're going along. It's not conventional. It doesn't feel like you want to be put back into a box, or to work in some kind of format that restricts you in a way that you feel you'll get bored or lose that creative edge. So definitely, there's a lot on the plate here. It could be a new but relatable field. Could be looking at something completely new even. It's all out on the table in a way that I feel you're saying it's all up for consideration. The outcome here, which is the Hangman and the Knave of Wands, I feel as an outcome that you're heading in a completely new and different direction. It's a new beginning in a creative field of work that inspires you. The creative juices need to flow. I feel that is going to happen. Totally new perspectives are here in the balance, in a job opportunity that will actually take you in a very new direction, much more exciting. I feel like there's a very sharp creative edge. The Hangman is definitely a card of new perspectives. It's a very creative, artistic card that could relate to something that is in that particular field, but it could also just be creative and artistic perspectives within the workplace that actually give it a refresh. It's a new line of work, I feel. I feel like you're breaking new ground, a totally new perspective on what you're capable of doing. Here with the Hangman, it's a restricted card that asks for sacrifices, and I feel that you're also saying at this point in time, not only are you going to break new ground, you're going to let go of all of your limitations and make what sacrifices need to be made in order for you to get some mileage out of a new direction. I feel that it's also a process of not worrying about what other people think of you and what it is that you're actually capable of doing, or whatever it is that you choose to do. A lot of what I'm getting through these cards that are more in the here now into the future are a liberation, an unshackling of perspective, an unshackling of conformity, of thinking that you have to do things in a specific way. Really throwing it out there in a way that just kind of stretches you right outside of your comfort zone. And I feel that this approach is going to allow you to treat this as a really fascinating journey. It's not just about a job, that it's it's a reveal of who it is that you are at a deeper level, So it's not just about making money or furthering your career or getting experience for the sake of it. This is actually an expression, a deeper expression of who it is that you are as a person. I feel that this will reinvigorate and energize you in a way where this is very much about finding acceptance about who it is that you are within what it is that you're actually going to be doing. And I think fundamentally what's really important here is that it is within a structured and supportive workplace that actually has a really enjoyable workplace culture and environment that has your back, that is giving you the support that you need to be able to reach out and go big. I felt this is a very progressive field and definitely a very, very progressive way of approaching your work and your career. So for me, it's a really positive reading, in as much as I feel that you've gone through quite a difficult and long-winded process to get to this particular point. I feel that you've been waiting in the balance to move on from this work that you've been doing, and that it is a process of self-realization in many ways. To think your way around the concept of employment in a way that is much more exciting and individualized. It's very much about who it is that you are, what is it you're about, and what it is that you want to take, as much as it is as to what it is that you actually want to give to this new and exciting opportunity that lays in the balance. I hope this reading has made some sense to you, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe. Tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of info about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care.